How do you explain why you love something as much as you do? For me personally, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith is my favorite movie of all time. And yet, how do I explain why? I could talk about the line, "He's too dangerous to be left alive," and how Anakin had the same response both times, and how it paints the Jedi and the Sith as two sides of the same coin. Or how a common theory I agree with is that Palpatine planted the visions of Padme dying into Anakin's head and how it led him down the path of the dark side. Or how the Battle of Coruscant is a really daring move by the CIS, even if Palpatine was the puppet master behind the battle. Or the Battle of Heroes, Anakin versus Obi-Wan, and how significant it is. You know what, actually, let's just go through these points one by one. Join me as we dive into the narrative. By far, my favorite line in the movie is,
"He's too dangerous to be left alive."
And it's only said twice. Once by Palpatine when Anakin kills Count Dooku.
He was too dangerous to be kept alive.
And interestingly, once by Jedi Master Mace Windu.
"He's too dangerous to be left alive."
Both sides say it. Jedi and Sith, both of them have their merits. Count Dooku has been a reoccurring problem throughout the Clone Wars, and killing a major figurehead of the CIS could turn the tide of the war in your favor. Considering him and Major Malevolence over there were the only ones really keeping up the war effort. The CIS Parliament never wanted to go to war, but they were forced to comply. Sorry, Poe Nudo, but you were not equal enough! With Mace Windu, he is by all accounts right here. Putting him on trial would have been useless at this point, considering he orchestrated an entire war and manipulated the Republic's Senate to giving him emergency powers. I genuinely believe that even if Anakin agreed with Windu, Palpatine would have found a way to escape and still turn the Republic against the Jedi, this leading him to create the Empire anyways. Ending Palpatine then and there would have been the correct choice. Unfortunately though, Palpatine threw the fight so that Anakin could walk in and see Windu pointing his lightsaber at him and then manipulate him further, but Palpatine's grand plan is a topic for another video entirely. Even if both instances of "he's too dangerous to be left alive" are correct, Anakin has the same response both times.
"I shouldn't have done that. It's not the Jedi way."
It's not the Jedi way.
Anakin is also correct. In the case of Dooku, he was unarmed. Literally. Killing a helpless opponent goes against what the Jedi stand for. In the case of Palpatine, it's simply the case that everyone deserves a fair trial, according to the Jedi beliefs anyway. But there will always be a Sheev Palpatine. I'm not gonna say the hitman's name, but you get the parallel. And sometimes, violence is the only way to solve it. You could view the Jedi and the Sith as the same thing through this one line. Both the Jedi and the Sith use whatever manipulation they can to get their way. You could even see that in The Phantom Menace. Constant mind tricks by both Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. To quote Palpatine, "The Sith and the Jedi are similar in almost every way, including their quest for great power." The wider galaxy doesn't understand the Jedi, really. I would imagine they view the Jedi versus the Sith as more of a civil war, infighting in the faction, as opposed to complete opposite forces, though I haven't really found a source on that. Star Wars has countless comics, games, books, movies, shows, everything in media, and I can't consume it all. Cut me some slack, please. "He's too dangerous to be left alive" only proves Palpatine's point of the Jedi and Sith being incredibly similar, and I think Anakin realizes that in his office. A theory that I've seen on the internet that I agree with is that Palpatine planted the visions of Padme dying into Anakin's head to help further his manipulations. And there are a lot of points that back this up. Anakin confides in Palpatine about the visions that he had of his mother dying to the Sand People, and it became true in the end. So it's entirely possible that he used that knowledge to plant similar visions in Anakin's head regarding Padme dying in childbirth. Another theory I've seen floating around is that rather than Padme dying by losing the will to live, die from being too sad, Palpatine actually stole the life force from Padme and gave it to Anakin, now Vader, as he was on the operating table. Honestly, my theory on that one is that Anakin siphoned Padme's life force himself subconsciously, aka the dark side found a way to keep Anakin alive. However, if we take Palpatine stealing her life force to keep Anakin alive as true, it works to further his manipulation more, considering it could be seen as the vision coming true. Now, I know that relies on two separate theories working together, but I do genuinely believe both of them. It makes Palpatine much more evil and a bigger manipulator. While I don't like Padme dying from losing the will to live, I do like the idea that the visions were genuine as well. Even if we didn't see it on the screen, Anakin probably confided in Palpatine again about these new visions, and old Papa Palpatine used that knowledge to manipulate Anakin further. These visions could have been a message from the Force itself, saying, hey, do the right thing, dickhead, otherwise this'll happen. But Anakin doesn't listen, and the visions become true. While that's probably the case, I personally like the theory more. The Battle of Coruscant is one of the coolest battles in all of Star Wars in my opinion, and I really wish we would have seen more of it. Right from the opening crawl, we follow two ships around a UCS Venator. My personal favorite capital ship in Star Wars. Look how cool it is! And once they get past it, you see the mass amount of ships duking it out over the planet. You see it and go, whoa, now that's a battle. If you think about it, the CIS attacking Coruscant is a very bold move, even if Palpatine orchestrated the whole thing. Coruscant is not only a core world, worlds that the CIS didn't really have, it was the core world, the home of the Republic. Imagine a group of European cities got together, formed an army, and then just decided to attack Washington, D.C. and kidnap the president. And the president was behind the whole thing. Fucking wacky, isn't it? Even if the president was orchestrating the whole thing, that's still a very bold choice to make. However, Grievous was desperate. The CIS were losing the war, and they needed to do something to, at the very least, scare the Republic. So while the Republic was spread to the Outer Rim, Grievous made his attack, using a space lane between Araxis Prime and Coruscant. Grievous managed to capture Palpatine despite him being protected by Shaak Ti. Side note, I cannot get over how incompetent Shaak Ti is. Not only did she fail to protect the Supreme Chancellor, but she also has 3 different death scenes. One of them is canon, of course, but 2 of the 3 are from her being incompetent. Grievous kills her on the invisible hand because she failed to protect the Chancellor and she herself got captured, but this became a deleted scene. She died in the Force Unleashed because Starkiller is stupidly powerful, so I don't see that as incompetent personally. And she dies to Anakin because she was meditating during the raid on the Jedi Temple while the carnage is going on. You're supposed to watch over the temple. How the actual fuck did you not hear anything that was going on? Blaster fire? Screams? Lightsabers? Anything? Okay, Shaak Ti rant over. Of course, the main purpose of the attack was so Palpatine can manipulate Anakin further. By having Anakin kill Dooku, he commits his first cold-blooded murder. Dooku was a pawn of Palpatine's chessboard, and he served his purpose well. The Battle of Heroes. Anakin versus Obi-Wan. We waited 28 years for this fight. Ever since we learned that Darth Vader was once Ben Kenobi's apprentice in A New Hope, I wanted to see how they split up. The assumption, of course, was they fought. And my god, was it ever a fight! With the backdrop of a molten volcanic landscape, the best fight in all of Star Wars takes place. 2 of the greatest lightsaber duelists of their time going head-to-head. Anakin is relentless, the master of offense. Defense? I call that counter-striking! While Obi-Wan is the master of defense. Nothing will break through his guard. However, if Obi-Wan doesn't find an opening, he will only delay the inevitable. Obi-Wan will get tired eventually, and Anakin will kill him. This duel is the perfect showcase of how these two are a perfect mirror to each other. People like to hate on this moment, but I think it's great. It shows how well they know each other, perfectly anticipating each other to the point where their lightsabers don't even clash? That's so fucking cool! These two have been training together ever since Anakin was 9 years old. It makes perfect sense that he knows Obi-Wan's moves, and with that, it makes sense that Obi-Wan knows Anakin's moves since he trained him. As they fight, they hit a console on accident and lower the shields to the facility, making it susceptible to the lava around it. Their fight progresses through the facility, and even swinging like Tarzan on cables and dueling on platforms on a river of lava. It's such a fucking cool fight, man. Eventually, Obi-Wan claims the high ground.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
The opening he needs against Anakin. Anakin, being overconfident, still thinks he can defeat Obi-Wan. But Anakin failed to block Obi-Wan's strike, and he ended up losing all of his remaining organic limbs. Obi-Wan cries out to his former friend and brother.
You were the chosen one!
proclaiming he was supposed to destroy the Sith and not join them. Anakin replies simply, and seals his fate, truly becoming Darth Vader. This movie means so much to me, for multiple reasons. Yes, there are flaws.
You're so beautiful.
It's only because I'm so in love.
No. No, it's because I'm so in love with you.
So love has blinded you?
But this movie will always have a special place in my heart. Even though I watched all of the other Star Wars movies first, I was young enough to see Revenge of the Sith in theaters when it first came out. I was 6. I don't remember much of it from back then. I do remember some. I remember the robot guy with 4 arms and lightsabers was really cool. There were a lot of lightsaber fights, and I got McDonald's after. What a day! But my real love for the movie started when I finally got the DVD copy. God, remember DVDs? I miss them. Physical media will always be the best. Let me own my movies, Disney! Out of all of the Star Wars movies, this was the one I watched the most, parroting most of the famous lines. This is where the fun begins. I have the high ground! And of course, do it. My mom was very annoyed. Hi mom, love you. Honestly, if I ever get a chance to voice act one day, my #1 project will always be Star Wars. That's how much this franchise means to me. Despite the recent hit and miss shows we've gotten, I still love Star Wars. I'm probably one of only 5 people who liked Kenobi. Well, the Vader and Obi-Wan dynamic part of the show mainly. The Leia subplot I can live without, and despite its flaws, I'm still mad that another character got stabbed and survived. I still love the Ahsoka series, and everyone knows how amazing Andor is. I'm the type of person that will always find at least something that I like in movies. The Last Jedi, for example. Even though I mainly dislike the movie, I love Luke training Rey. I think that's genuinely interesting. I also really like Luke's sacrifice at the end, though I still wish we would have seen a very powerful Luke Skywalker with powers we've never seen before. That being said, despite me loving this franchise through thick and thin, The Rise of Skywalker still sucks. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and feel free to comment. I always encourage discussion about my videos in the comments. Do you have a different opinion than mine? Please share it. I love comments. Give them all to me. And I'll see you all the next time we dive into the narrative.